Welcome to Sculpture Studios. Working on a project now for Partridge events, and we're creating a giant dinosaur footprint. This was for the red carpet premiere in Leicester Square in London for Walking With Dinosaurs 3D. After we received these images from the client showing a massive footprint smashing into the pavement, I went and scouted the location in London to get a better idea of what the Leicester Square paving stones look like. Here you go, Dad, take a little video. Outside the View Cinema, he said outside this set of front doors, where this canopy hangs over, they're going to have red carpet coming out to about where the canopy ends. And then from there, a metre out, he said, from where the carpet ends is where the foot's going to be. And the foot's going to be walking in this direction towards that way. So the foot's going to be like that, basically, which means the stones are going that way. And yeah, this is just a little video of what the stones look like. They're various kind of shades of greys and dark grey, a little bit of brown or something like that. And that's it, I'm going to have some lunch. Now, this sculpture needed to be built in a week, so we needed to plan it quickly and create it in a material that could be rendered in a very short amount of time. We grid the outline up and use this to scale and blow up the original concept image and transfer it onto a floor plan. The overall sculpture is about 3.5 metres in length and about the same in width, and when we draw it onto the floor we create an outline not only for the footprint itself, but a line that marks where the upturned slabs will eventually stick out to. The footprint's going to be made from wood, and that's going to lay flat on the ground, and the concrete slabs that sit around it will be made from polystyrene, and they'll be protected with a flexible spray-on concrete render. Once the floor plan is finished, we transfer the image onto tissue paper, and this allows us to cut out appropriate sized blocks of polystyrene for the outline of the foot. Here's the tissue paper template all cut out, and we've used this to transfer the design onto these slabs of polystyrene which we've pre-cut 8 inches thick. We use a table mounted vertical hot wire to cut it out, and this makes it easy for us to quickly and accurately cut round our design. Polystyrene or Styrofoam is a very clean material to use, but at the same time it can get very messy, but using a hot wire like this lets us keep it nice and neat. We dog all of the pieces together and squeeze them in place using expanding foam. As this is going to be quite a large piece of transport if we kept it in one unit, we draw lines where we're going to break the sculpture down so that it can split into manageable sized pieces. Here you can see the concrete slabs are starting to take form now as we block it all out, and once again we squidge it all together using foam when we're happy with where everything's placed. As the public are going to be close, the blocks are stacked and they're designed to point inwards to save anyone tripping or catching their feet on the edges as they walk by. Aden's going over the whole polystyrene surface with a flexible concrete render, and this gives a lightweight protection and a more realistic texture of solid concrete. This material takes about 4 hours to dry on a normal day, an hour or so either side, give or take the temperature and breeze. When it's all nice and set, we split the pieces up and rearrange them so that we can work on them individually. Transporting the sculpture in smaller sections also allows for a smaller vehicle to be used, and therefore saves the client money, something we always try and accommodate for when we take on a project like this. Putting the base together now, Aden's creating a platform made from MDF, and he's raising it ever so slightly off the ground so that if it rains, as it most probably will do in Britain this time of year, it prevents the main area of the base from getting wet. It's also designed to have a slight gap between the wood and the polystyrene surround so that the base doesn't act like a large watertight paddling pool if it does rain. We use a sticky back foil to protect the underside of the polystyrene so that when it's transported and placed on the pavement, it's protected from being damaged too easily. The foil also protects the polystyrene from the rain as well. The wood is then treated with a resin and aggregate mix to give it texture, waterproofing and grip, so that anyone that stands in the centre of the sculpture won't slip over. Here we've created a shallow line of concrete to leave space where the celebrities on the red carpet can step into the footprint. Moving on to the cosmetics, as standard is determined by how far the sculpture is going to be viewed from, we discuss the paintwork. The inside wall of the sculpture will be painted brown to look like the dirt underneath the floor, and as the public is going to be within touching distance and will probably get within a metre or so, the concrete needs to look as realistic as possible. We need to make sure we get into all the nooks and crannies, and we go over with a variety of different browns and greys. Aden and Jess are using a variety of artistic techniques to replicate the look of the concrete. Aden goes over the surface with a sponge to get that desired mottle look effect. He then uses a splash brush technique later to make the concrete look more speckled. The majority of the paintwork's quite theatrical in the sense that it takes layers and layers to get the desired look. So here's the sculpture in its raw polystyrene stage in one piece, then it's sprayed with a grey concrete render, left to dry and then split into sections, and then it's artworked, and this is how it looked leaving our studio. A couple of the Sculpture Studios team went up to London on the day of the premiere in the early hours of the morning, arriving at about 5 o'clock, to begin setting up the footprint. It was all joined and fixed together, ready for the celebrities to arrive at 9 o'clock. It did rain in the end, so luckily we'd already compensated for this with a waterproof seal, and we believe the sculpture was very well received. This was a very quick turnover job, and we'd like to thank Partridge Events for the project. Hit the subscribe button below for our latest videos, like Sculpture Studios on Facebook, and for more of our work, visit sculpturestudios.co.uk. Thank you very much for watching.